Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back to Cricket Spectacle. Hope you are all fit, healthy, and following all the safety protocols. So before we start off, I would like to thank our viewers. Nikhil, Dan, and myself, Sidharth, have witnessed an increase in the views of some of our most relevant content, and it wouldn't have been possible without all of you. Please keep supporting us. It's going to help us in future. One more thing. I know it's been a lengthy break, and to all those who expected a bit more content from us last month, we assure that we'll make up for it with exciting and relevant content later this month and in 2022. So let's get going. And today's talk will be about the Ashes beginning December 8 at the Gaba, Brisbane. And just to start off, I've been watching the Ashes since 2002, and I feel that the urn is won and lost by the captaincy's attitude. And when that translates into form, with the bat or ball, a team can't ask for more. Best examples here being Ricky Ponting, Andrew Strauss, Michael Clarke, Steve Smith, and of course, many others. So say maybe will Pat Cummins captaining Australia for the first time in the Ashes be able to make his bowling count as much as possible? Or will Joe Root's experience win it for England this time around? To talk more on this and the other aspects, please welcome Nathan Barkley, an ardent English cricket fan. Nathan, it's good to have you.
Cheers, right? It's good to be here.
So, in case this discussion becomes all about Nikhil versus Nathan, I would be absolutely fine with it, and I'm sure both of you would also be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have a bit of banter before the Ashes, right? What is this whole thing about anyway? Right? Like English fans, people in Australia, everywhere around the world, like Ashes is about a bit of banter, right? Like I will probably be, hopefully, I'm planning to go to the Boxing Day Test match at the MCG as well. So maybe a bit of
Nice.
Barmy Army, some banter over there as well. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun. Like it's probably one of the most anticipated series ever in the world, right? Like probably the closest I can think of is an India-Pakistan series, but that's unfortunately doesn't happen anymore. So Ashes is probably the most, hardcore rivalry in cricket, at least in Test cricket, at least. So it's always good. And I'm pretty sure Nathan is as nervous as most of us in Australia are as well. But we are not going to show that, are we?
So, Nathan, I'm going to start with you, and it's going to be a very generic question to start off. So, what's the mood in England, among the England fans, just, with respect to the Ashes? Are there any fan parks, where you all can watch the matches? And what kind of bantering have you witnessed or been a part of in the lead up to the Ashes?
Well, obviously, if we just go back 4 years, the Ben Stokes incident, that crushed the whole support. And, with the Bristol night out malarkey that happened 4 years ago, that just crushed it. And it made it even worse is the fact I was flying out for the Melbourne Test myself. So I knew how tough it was going to be. But since Stokes has come back, the atmosphere has changed just a little bit more into a positive one. Just having, obviously, a better balanced team. Ben Stokes is at the moment, well, I say at the moment, he's not played for 6 months, but the last 2 years, he's been one of the best players on the planet. And he's a winner. And the fact that he's back in the team has actually lifted the England fans. And we're actually a little bit more confident than we were, was it 3 months ago, whenever he announced he's coming back? So I think we can do it this time. India can do it with a 15. Why can't we do it with our first team?
I mean, yeah, and I think that's probably one of the biggest fears that people over here, I mean, the ones who I've talked to, like the actual Australian cricket fans as well, right? So they're like the memory of that Indian loss is still pretty fresh in their minds, because not only was it just a series loss in Australia, it was against like a very, like Nathan said, like probably the fifth side of India. Like there were like 11, 14, how many injuries, I don't even remember, for India. And if you still lose at home, that's never a good memory to have, right? So this is probably one of those series which can turn that mood around, but you have to understand the magnitude of the Ashes as well, right? Like it's not just some series that you can be like, okay, let's bounce back. It's a completely whole different ball game, and if you have that in the back of your mind, it's not going to help Australia in any way, right? So yeah, like Nathan rightly pointed out, if India can do it, and let's face it, England has a good team. It's not like they are sending the B team as well. Now they are like with Ben Stokes, it's probably a solid lineup in terms of balance on top, in the middle order, and experience obviously in the bowling lineup as well. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things where each team will go into the Ashes thinking that, okay, we have a good chance. Of course, Australia probably playing at home are more confident, and they should be, home advantage and all those things. But I don't see why England fans would not be optimistic. Probably like 4 months ago they might not have been, but now there's a good chance that England could actually nick one good game, right? Like there could be a couple of good games obviously, but still there's the talent is there. So yeah, it's possible for sure.
Nathan, go ahead. I'm just going to say, I think it's since 1986, if I remember correctly. We've won once. I think that was in 1986
at the Gabba,
and drawn 2 at the Gabba. Yeah. But the weather forecast would strongly suggest that there's about 2 days worth of play coming along. Yeah. So, looking obviously a little bit further ahead, England in the last 7 of the last 10 Ashes down under have been 1-0 down going into the first test. Yeah. If obviously the rain does come as it's expected, it'll be obviously an expected draw. Yeah. So going into the second test at 0-0 rather than 1-0 down, I think that will give us a bigger boost than it gives Australia. Yeah. And I know a lot of people.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, a lot of people thinking rain, Australia, but according to the forecast, day 1, 2, after lunch is meant to just be straight out rain. Day 3 is pretty much most of the day. Then we've got day 4, and then by then you've lost so much play that you should, speaking very hypothetically, be in a position to draw the test, which I think will give England a bigger boost.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the thing which you mentioned as well, it's a good. I mean, the rain, not just about the record at Gabba as well. It's just the fact that it will help settle down the nerves as well for England a bit, because if it's the first test, and let's say if it's like 2.5 days do get washed off, let's say 2 days as well, it's a good setting up of the series for them in terms of like getting rid of those nerves and just like getting in the groove. People would be nervous first test away from England since forever, so it's just to get it's good to get the nerves out of the way as well. So yeah, I mean, apart from the historic results, that the rain could probably be the best friend of England for this series though.
So yeah, I would just like to tell my viewers who are probably not able to comprehend what this discussion is all about. So it's, in a nutshell, the bantering has started, and Nikhil is trying to put his point, and Dan is very much, upbeat about the fact that, going into Adelaide 0-0, it's going to be good. So yeah, Dan, okay,
Nathan,
Nikhil, just
Nathan.
we missed Dan.
We missed Dan, of course.
Seriously, I'm really missing Dan today, because he's the kind of character who was actually needed for this episode. It would have been great fun. So yeah, Nikhil, sorry.
Dan, you're not making it obvious, mate.
So can I call you Dan, Nathan?
Nathan, Dan.
You seem to be doing. I haven't called you out on it.
Okay, guys. Okay, apologies, for the same. So, Nikhil, coming to you. We know under what circumstances, Pat Cummins has had to take over the reins, and obviously, it's never nice for a team to lose its captain just before a marquee series. So, do you think this whole Tim Paine incident will have a bearing on Australia's preparations or their performance?
I mean, look, honestly, the amount of people I've talked to about this, even at work, even outside, like overall, to be very honest, people are pretty happy that Tim Paine has been dropped. I'm not even kidding. Like, as much as the whole controversy was distasteful and blah, 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 the fact of the matter is that he would not have been dropped otherwise. And just purely on form, I don't think he would have made the team. He was the captain. That's why he was like a a compulsory selection, right? You can't get rid of the captain, obviously. But now that he got into the whole controversy thing, and then he decided to step down, that's when the opportunity came to actually replace him. And then let's be honest, if you don't score a century in, like, I don't remember how many innings, I mean, if Ravichandran Ashwin has 3 more test centuries than you are probably not the best batsman in the world. And it's not like his keeping could not be replaced as well. So even if someone does 90% of what he does in terms of keeping, and does a better job with the bat, why would you not? So in general, I think the vibe, at least with what I believe and what I've spoken to people as well, is like, okay, that the incident happened, let's move past that. But for the team as a best 11, this probably might have bumped Australia's chances a bit more. So call it a blessing in disguise, or just or just people trying to hide their shame, probably, I don't know, but it is what it is. And I personally believe, just on purely cricketing basis, without Tim Payne, Australia actually have a better chance of winning the Ashes.
Okay, that's actually a good one. Nathan, same question to you.
Well, we wish Tim Payne was there. I mean,
that should answer everything, shouldn't it?
Even we might stop him from scoring a century in your conditions, so that might say something.
Yeah.
Do you think Carey's is Carey a best choice? I was always wondering why Wade wasn't picked. Wade was in my first 11 for you guys before the team was announced. That's what, and then obviously he's a he's a wicketkeeper. Yeah. So I just don't see why I didn't pick Wade myself. But
yeah,
Carey's going to now pick up 4 centuries in the next 5 games now, in my look, after I've just said that.
That's gonna be it, right? Like, Nathan questions why. That's gonna be our headline. Nathan Barkley questions why Carey has been picked. Next 4 innings, 4 centuries and a half century after that.
See, I think I slightly agree with Nathan here, to be honest. See, because just before this Ashes, Wade was part of almost all the series that Australia played, whether it was against New Zealand, India, or any other team. And I think it was a little harsh on Wade, because sometimes he was tried as an opener, sometimes he was given a different role, and when it happens to a player, you don't get that kind of consistency as to how you prepare yourself to perform on that consistent basis. So that is where I feel, yes, Matthew Wade could have been a good choice. But yeah, having said that, Alex Carey has been waiting in the wings for far too long. And I think, yeah, it could very well be, just his chance to make it count.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think he's ready.
Nathan,
I think he's ready. I think he's ready. Tim,
absolutely.
Carey has to be like, right? It was one of those situations, like, you go with this or go with that. But I just feel that he will come with less burden, like less baggage and stuff like that. So he obviously has a point to prove as well. But the lack of experience should not be an issue, because he's played enough cricket. So it's just a matter of like having a fresh start in that position as well. So I think he should be fine. I don't know how well he'll perform, but he would have been probably my choice, just because, let's say, with Matthew Wade as well, right? Like you guys said, he has played earlier. There have been good innings. Yes, it's not like he's done bad. I mean, but I would probably have gone with Carey as well, just because I wanted probably to have like a cleaner, no baggage kind of player. If you're replacing Tim Payne, let's give him a go. And if he does well, you obviously have like a longer term solution, right? Like,
absolutely.
So it works for me.
And I think also he also gives you a leadership option, because if you guys remember, he has been the vice captain of Australia's ODI and T20 side in the past. So in case there are any injuries to, say, maybe Cummins or Smith, he's the one who can always step in. And of course, when it comes to wicket keepers in any format of the game, they are the captains, because they are the ones who also help the captain set the fields and all that. So yeah, definitely it's one of the aspects there too.
Yeah. Plus, I think Wade was like, I think he's like 34 now. So even if you go with him, he might not be even there in the team next year as well. So yeah, it's one of those things like, who do you go with? Like, but I think it should be fine. That wouldn't probably decide the tournament. I think at the series at least. I don't think that's going to decide.
Could very well be. Same. It was the same thing that I would say nobody predicted about the 2013-14 Ashes when England got thrashed 5-0. Sorry, Nathan. No offense meant. It was the Mitchell Johnson series, and not to forget. It was. I think it was Brad Haddon who actually turned the game around for Aussies on more than one occasion.
Yeah. So good memories. Yeah.
Good memories for Australia. So Nathan, coming to you. Joe Root was the captain when England lost 4-0 down under in the 2017-18 Ashes. And while there were individual performances from David Malan, Johnny Bairstow, Lester Cook, and James Sanderson, England failed to perform as a unit. So do you think that England have the right mix this time around to push Australia hard in their backyard?
Well, we've just announced our 12-man squad, and I can't remember for the life of me if Pope or Bairstow's been picked, because I was looking at the bowlers and I actually generally forgot to check that part. I've only just realised now that I didn't check that part. I think the difference between 2017 and now is Ben Stokes again, but in the middle order. But we've actually got, I feel, as a combination, obviously Cook's the best out of the four openers if you put them together, but we've got a more of a settled, better opening partnership. I think Rory Burns and Hamid is better than Mark Stoneman and Cook. But you can also go back to the first test, James Finch run out in 2017.
Yes.
And call that a big game changer, because up to then, we look strong. And I can't remember the exact score, but it was something like 280 for 3 or something. And then obviously he gets himself run out. So if we can just get a base at the start, and I think Joe Root can't do any worse than he has done. The guy's averaging 70 or 60 something this year, and he averages 37. For him to then come in, say, over 30, over 40, a bit of Ben Stokes and Pope or Bairstow, we'll actually have a decent base. But I also think our bowlers are better this time. I think it was the first test again. They were 129 for 7 or something. And Smith got them up to 300. Whereas this time, I think it was the Ollie Robinson and Mark Wood likely to be in the starting 11. I just think we've just got that extra bit of spice for the bowlers, which I think will then go back to your batsmen, because they're not getting, well, I hope not, 500-600s like they did every time in the 2017. So I think we've got a better balanced squad overall, but let's see. If the rain lets us play, it's a bit hard to say that away from home.
Yeah, I can assure you there's no one who can possibly predict rains in Australia. I mean, I don't think even like the best of science can tell you when it's not going to rain or when it's going to rain. It's just like there'll be a probability, and the worst possible time it's going to rain. I can assure you that. Like, you could plan your whole day and you'll be like, yeah, it's not raining, it's sunny outside, let's step out, bang, starts raining. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things, like, hopefully doesn't decide the game for any team, but yeah, it's going to rain for sure.
It was funny when India came to England this year, because the rain just followed India. Like, it was bright, sunny outside my house.
Yes.
And my radius of rain in England, and yet India seems to always be under the rain. There was only one little rain cloud, and it just followed India everywhere.
And I think it's pretty safe to say that rain saved England in the first test earlier this year, else India would have been 3-1 by now. Nathan, your comments?
You had to walk away before trying to take the whole series, so...
Okay. So Nikhil, same question to you on whether you think that England can really push Australia hard this time around.
Yeah, I mean, like Nathan said as well, that like it seems like a balanced side. It has experience. I think obviously there will be a lot of onus on Joe Root to finally score a century in Australia as well. Like that's kind of like the narrative, right? Like the captain stepping up. It has to happen if they want to win the series, right? So Joe Root is going to be pretty big in terms of how England perform in the entire series. But if you look at the bowling attack as well, it's not like they don't have the firepower in the bowling attack. It's there. It's a matter of how they negate Steve Smith. For me, he probably is going to decide whether or not Australia actually win the Ashes, because if Steve Smith plays right, like as he usually has been playing in the Ashes, it's very, very difficult for any team to beat Australia in that case. Like if he is on form, he just needs people to play those little bits of roles, which I think the supporting cast is already there. But if Steve Smith fires, then it's done, that kind of thing. But then that the only way to stop it is if Joe Root also steps up. And that is something which is like, it's been pending for a long time as well. Like, Joe Root is coming here with the mentality, like, I have to do it for my team. So it's just a matter of execution now. Like, there's no doubting, like, number one batsman in the world in test ranking, Joe Root, if he doesn't do it in this series, England winning it or even winning the game, any of the games will be kind of almost impossible. You need your best batsman to perform, right? So obviously, like Nathan said, the setup is balanced, but you still need your star players to step up and make that difference. That's what Steve Smith did last time. So if Joe Root can do that because obviously Ben Stokes is going to deliver, right? It'll probably not be every single test, but he'll deliver more often than not. But the whole dynamics of it, the base, like Nathan said, has to come from the top, and that's where Joe Root comes into play, right? Like if he bats for 80 overs or 90 overs or whatever, 100 overs, then that the base is strong. He's going to anchor one side, and then you have the rest of the team supporting, and then you get 350, 400, get a good amount of rest in your bowlers. And you have to factor that as well, right? Like, it's not a young bowling lineup as well. Like, it's not the pacers. They are on the wrong side of the 30s as well. So you get them rested, well rested. You let them charge in at the Aussie batsman. For that to happen, though, you need to make sure that you bat a long time, because as much as the rain is going to be a factor, the heat is also going to be a factor, because I mean, it's one thing to sit and just go outside over here, but when the actual like heat kicks in, Australian summer heat kicks in, right? It's not easy. I mean, it's and this is coming from me, right? Like, I'm from India, so I know what heat is, right? So I am like literally, I've played in 35 degree, 40 degree outside cricket since I was a kid. But this heat, it's something different, man. And it just hits you, and it just like, it tires you out. So for that bowling lineup, if you don't get enough rest in between the innings as well, right, it's going to be hard. And not just the or England lineup, though, even for the Australian bowling lineup as well, it's not going to be easy to just field the whole day and then come back and bat for another 90 odd overs. It's going to be hard. So the batsmen need to make sure that they stick through the plan and that's like play as much as possible. So Joe Root for me is the key to England being able to beat Australia or not.
Just to add to as you say, Joe Root, there's one thing that stood out for me, just comparing back to obviously India, the only team I can remember winning in Australia. Nathan Lyon, I think he's the most undertouched bowler in the go, because obviously he got strong seam, wrong. But if you looked at his average against us in 2017, it was probably, without actually knowing the exact numbers off the top of my head, it's probably about half the numbers it was against India. So, as you're saying about Steve Smith, I think us playing Nathan Lyon will have a massive factor. So if he averages 60 for for this Ashes series, we're at every chance of winning. If he averages 22, 23, don't matter what Steve Smith does, we have absolutely no chance because he will hold up an end, but with an average of 23. So the seamers just keep rotating. All right, they might get the heat, but they won't come back on half as much as they would require to. So for me, it's 3 battles. Us with the ball, it's against Steve Smith from Labuschagne. And with the bat, it's against Nathan Lyon. If we win both of them, I think we'll win the Ashes. One of each, it could be close, but if we lose both of them, it's a game over.
Yeah.
I think
he's
that's
on
a very
399 wickets as well. It's been a year. It's been I think over a year, right? Yeah, it's pretty sure it's been over a year.
No, it's round about a year.
Yeah, it's been around a year, right? Like he's stuck on 399, so it's gonna be. I mean, if he gets Joe Root, right? That's the dream. Like 400 wicket, Joe Root, captain, test match, Ashes first game of the series. That would be something. But yeah,
I hope it goes into 2023 and beyond.
He's been stuck on 399. I think it's since January this year. Since the time India won at Gaba. Okay, so Dan, sorry, Nathan. Once again, I'm missing Dan a lot. Nathan, just one more question before we come to the final predictions. So there was a report that came out that James Anderson has been rested. And also, I think the team management is looking to use him very cautiously, I think in probably just 2 or 3 of the games out of the 5. So do you see this as a good move, or probably, England aren't making that best of the calls? Well, he's not rested, he's injured. He's got a couple of the reputed news outlets, they said that, he has been rested for this game in order to prepare him well for Adelaide. So that's what at least I've read.
I think if he's injured or rested, I think it is the best call with the second, with obviously the second test only being 3 days away. I wouldn't risk the Gabba. Just remembering in 2017, he had an error or 2 on the lights and he got a forfeit. So, and I think if I remember correctly, tell me if I'm wrong, he got one of the big ones out as well. So it weren't just like 9-10 jack, it was actually big wickets. So yeah, we do need to keep him fresh for a second test. I hope he's rested because I really want him to play the second test. But I've got other rumours that he's got a tight car, so let's hope he gets back for the second test. But also just for neutrals, because Test cricket's not got the fan base that it probably had 15 years ago. England having a close counters in Australia can only be good for neutrals. Although us winning would be better. I'd love us to win 5-0. And I just want good competitive games, and I think if Jimmy's there at second, it adds to that.
Yeah, that's a point. So Nikhil, just one more quick question, and before we come to the final predictions. So the same question I asked to Dan at the start of the show. So how's the mood in among the Australian fans, and are there actually any fan parks, or what kind of bantering have you witnessed, and something like that, which is some real stuff that you have seen?
And in terms of like the mood in itself, people are really excited for the Ashes for one, like because first of all, the World Cup, right? Like after winning the World Cup, you're obviously in the right mood, right frame of mind and stuff like that. But there's one thing about the Australian fans, right? Like when they have a setback, like the Tim Payne controversy, they want to come out even harder and just like, come out and just like get past that thing, just blow it out of the water and then just win if they can. And that's always been the Australian way, right? Like you push them against the wall and then they just break the wall and they do their thing. And yeah, it's a very exciting time to be like really. The Boxing Day Test match in MCG is probably one of the most awaited event, one of the most awaited events in Australia at least. And it's going to be like, you don't get tickets. That's the thing. Like you have to book tickets in like months in advance and stuff like that. So it's like, that atmosphere, people just go for the atmosphere on Boxing Day. Like you finish Christmas, get all your presents open. Some of them will get, the presents will itself be a ticket to the Boxing Day Test match. And so it's just going to be like the atmosphere is about, first of all, like beating England is what they look forward to, right? Like what better Christmas gift can there be than beating Australia, beating England in Australia itself. So there's that, but overall the vibes are pretty positive though. Like the team is good, and let's be honest, like on paper, if you really look at it, Australia are probably stronger than England right now, at least on paper. So again, nothing's won on paper, so that's a completely different argument. But if you look at that Australian team as well, pretty solid, pretty experienced. There's like a lot of talent there, and there are like so many match winners. Like of course, Steve Smith, Nathan Land, the big names will be there. But then you look at David Warner, and I mean, just the fact that David Warner is probably third on our like mention tells you how many actual winners. Like I'm not even mentioning Manas here, and he'll probably he'll score at least 2 centuries from my estimation, at least. Like within 10 innings he'll get 2 centuries. So lots of reason for the Aussie fans to be optimistic, and they are. So unless Nathan and his team have something really up their sleeves that we don't know about, it could be a not so good visit to Kangaroo Land for the England team.
Okay, guys, just final question, final predictions. Nathan, starting with you.
3-1 England.
That's too bold. Nikhil?
It'll be like a 3-0 or 4-1. Not 4-1, because they one test is going to get washed out, right? So 4-0. So I was going to give England 1, but yeah, probably not. I mean, to be really honest, like even if I keep banter aside, right, I can't see anything past Australia winning the series. So it could be 3-0. I think one test match could be washed out, like the one at the Gabba could be washed off. And there is some element of, I don't think they have finalized the venue for the fifth test as well. So it just depends where it might be, but I'm pretty sure, knowing Cricket Australia, it's going to favor the Aussies. So it's not going to be a good venue where England will get anything out of it as well. So that again is going to be playing in their favor. And just in general, the team looks good. Probably like 3-0 for me. 3-0 Australia.
I was going to put a draw in, but I can't see both sides batting long enough for it to be a draw.
That's probably the biggest worry as well, right? Like I think there would be few big innings coming in. It's just a matter of like how many there would be. Like I have this whole thing in my mind, like Manas and Steve Smith are just going to get centuries simultaneously in one of the matches. I don't know which one. It'll probably be the MCG. The thing with MCGs as well, right? Like they started to make it a bit flatter because it's a Boxing Day test match as well. They want the runs to be there, like the crowd is there. They want the entertainment kind of thing. I just feel that if Australia bat first on Boxing Day on a flattish wicket, you could see like big innings coming in in that match, because the other wickets, like even Gabba, I think there is like enough for the bowlers to actually get something. MCG, they have just made it a bit flatter in recent years, and I don't think it's going to change given it's going to be a Boxing Day test match. So I expect one big innings from Australia if they bat first. If England bat first, that's also a possibility, but let's not hope for such things. So I just
even in 2017, I was there at Melbourne for the Boxing Day test, and apart from day one, we had you under the sword, and we bowled first. I actually only made it for day 2 because of my travel delays. But the day I arrived, I think Broad got 4 for 10 or something daft in a pace spell. And then Cook got 200, his 244.
Double century,
I think if you do bat second, regardless who is batting second at Melbourne, if that's the sort of pictures you're getting, you're going to have to go big and get 450, 500.
For sure.
And sort of get the team below 350 to then put the pressure back up to the batting first team.
Yeah, right. Okay, guys. So that's about it. And thank you so much, Nathan. It was a great talk and great banter. And to all our viewers, to all our viewers, watching our videos, please subscribe to our channel, Cricket Spectacle. Please like our videos, comment on it. It's going to help us a lot. And do give us the feedback. If you want anything that we should cover, we'll be more than happy to do it.
And we promise to get Dan back soon as well. So
yeah,
don't worry, we'll get Dan back. We'll probably get him to do like a 30-second promo before this episode is aired and just like place him somewhere in the corner on the video or something like that. But yeah, we'll do our best. We'll get Dan back. Don't worry. He's not lost. He's just worried about the Ashes. He's preparing himself mentally. So all good.
And and in case Nikhil gets a chance to go for the Boxing Day test, we'll definitely provide you with all the updates there. So until then, on behalf of Nikhil, Nathan, and Dan, it's Sidharth saying goodbye.